G'day and welcome to another Visions of Cast tutorial. This tutorial is all about the text to image mode. To start the text to image mode, you select Mode, Machine Learning, PyTorch, and then Text to Image. If you do not see this menu, then you need to install the machine learning prerequisites. I have a link in the description to the page that has the machine learning prerequisite steps for Visions of Chaos. And you also need a decent NVIDIA graphics card GPU for these to work. A 3090 is recommended, a 2080 will work for smaller images, and older cards might work for very small images but take a really long time. And so you really want a fast graphics card. Faster the better. When you first start the text to image mode, you will see a message saying the various models need to be downloaded. These downloads only have to happen once and can take a while as there are a few gigabytes worth of models. Without these models, the text-to-image scripts cannot run, so have patience and wait for all the downloads to complete. You just click yes and you wait for the downloads to finish. And you see here you get some stats on how much time is left, and so just wait for all those to complete. Okay, and once they all finish, you will see this message here that the models all successfully downloaded and were verified, which means they passed the checksum. Okay, and so you are now ready to go. Okay, so let's cover generating single images from the text to image. The first thing to check is where it's going to save all the images it creates. So if you go into the Options dialog and the Directories tab, under this Images, Sounds and Movie Files location is where the pictures will be saved to. And so I've just got that folder open here, ready to go. Okay, so let's go back into the text to image. When you first start experimenting with the text to image, it is best to just use all of these default settings. I'll go through them all later in this tutorial, but for now, let's just have a look at the default setup. The input phrase area is where you type your prompt text. Let's just try something different here. Let's do a painting of a bouquet of roses. Once you have your input phrase set, just click on Generate. As you can see, this will take approximately 5 minutes to complete. This is being run on a PC with a NVIDIA 3090 GPU. Older graphics cards will be slower. And you'll also notice this setting up here to update the image every 25 iterations. That means every 25 steps, it will update this preview picture. And so you just wait for this to finish. And in this current script, it is set for 750 iterations. You can always stop this sooner if you feel the picture has finished enough. Okay, so once that script finishes running, you have your final picture there. If you click on the preview here, you will see the image in your default graphics program. If you have a look inside that images folder, you will see it's now saved it there as well for you. The next setting you can change is the script. Visions of Chaos currently supports 21 different text-to-image scripts. If you see an asterisk or star next to the name, those are the scripts that I have personally found give the best output. So let's just try another one now. We'll try Big Sleep. Again, we'll leave the defaults as is and click Generate. Okay, you can see with that result there, because a painting of was specified in the input phrase, it has generated a painting that has more of these brush strokes and thick impasto-like strokes within it. So if you are after a specific style of image, you can always describe it more clearly up here. As a quick example, let's try changing that to a color pencil sketch of a bouquet of roses, and let's see the change that makes. Once again, just click generate. Once that is finished, you will notice a drastic difference in the art style. Rather than those thick impasto oil paint look, you now have a coloured pencil look. Whether that actually looks like a bouquet of roses or not is another matter, but you can now see how just changing the style or the medium of the image used can change the output quite a bit. Let's try that same prompt with another script this time. Okay, as you can see that one has given another unique result. Looks as if it's actually tried to put colour pencils within the picture there. You can try any prompt, give it any style you like. What about we try one more? What about a watercolour painting? And again, I'll just try one of these. Let's try text to image V2. And you can see that using a watercolor painting prompt really did give it that nice faded washed out look of a watercolor painting. Let's just try that one more time in this other script. And that is the result from that script. If you have an artist style you would like to use within the text to image, you can specify that too. As an example, let's try an airbrush painting of a bouquet of roses by Giger, who you may know as that artist who does those biomechanical alien looking paintings. So if we just specify that and generate, let's see what that does. Okay, and so you see that that really does have that Giger-like look to it. And so the basics of creating single images are type your phrase up here, select your script, and click generate. Simple as that. If you have a look at the linked blog post, I have a list of the scripts currently supported and some example outputs of what they can do, and a couple of sample movies. And so you can have a look at that to get an idea of if there's a certain style or script that you'd like to try. So that covers the basics of image generation. Okay, next up, let's have a look at some of these other settings in more detail. As you change the script type, you will notice that each of the scripts has different settings, which will be shown in this section here. The random seed value is supposed to give a repeatable result. That is, you click the generate button, and as long as the seed value remains the same, you should get the same image out. It turns out for most of the scripts this does not work, and you will get a random result each run. The seed number is used for naming output files, so you can have different names for a batch run. Just know that for most of these scripts, you get a unique, non-repeatable image each run. Cutouts, or the number of cutouts, is a setting that many of the scripts use. Smaller values here will save GPU memory, but also give less detailed images. Larger values can give more detailed images, but may lead to out-of-memory errors. The step size and or learning rate. These settings determine how quickly the machine learning systems create the final image. Too large a learning rate will result in a jumbled mess, and too small can result in the target image not being generated at all. Start with small changes to these values when experimenting. The VQ GAN model drop-down selects different GAN models. The GAN model is the part of the text-to-image creation that generates the images. You can try different models for different results. Each of these will give unique output results for the prompt. The clip model is the part of the text-to-image that detects what the GAN-generated image contains. Clip rates what the GAN creates and then the GAN repeatedly tries to improve its output to get a higher clip rating. And this repeated process is how the images are created. The GAN model creates pictures, the clip has a look at it and rates it, and then the GAN model again tries to tweak its output slightly and to get a better clip rating. And so this repeats the hundreds of times until you get your resulting images. Some of the scripts support a seed image. A seed image allows you to use any external picture to influence how the process begins. For the last few scripts on the list, you will see they've got a custom image size that allows an image larger than the usual 512 by 512 pixels. So this can be nice if you want a slightly more landscape format image. There are some other custom settings for each individual scripts. You can try changing these and experiment with how they change your output images. And feel free to change any setting. The worst that can happen is you get an error or crash Visions of Chaos. You can always restart to get the settings back to the defaults. And so play around with different prompts, describing the prompts, describing the sort of image you want, an artist, and try different scripts, different GAN models and different clip models. Those 4 settings will get you the most variety in outputs. Now let's have a look at how movies can be created using the text-to-image mode. Firstly, the Create Movie Frames checkbox. When this is checked, the update process of a single image is saved as frame files. For example, if we drop this down to update every 5 steps instead of 25, and let's just try a different random seed to get a different image, and we click generate, you will now see that every 5 steps it saves the progress. And so if we have a look within the image directory, you will now see it's creating these frame files here after every 5 steps. And so I'll just let this finish. Okay, so once that finishes, you will see the Build Movie Settings dialog appear. And if we have a look in that images folder, we now have a bunch of frame files. And so you can just click Build to create this movie here at 30 frames a second. And so that shows you the process that text-to-image built up as it went along. Next up are the recursive zoom movies. If the script you select has a recursive zoom movie checkbox, you can check this, which will create a movie by repeatedly zooming into the generated image. The way that this works is it generates a single text-to-image output frame, then it feeds it back in as the seed image, which is then processed again by that same prompt and then stretched and fed in again as a seed image. So it stretches it slightly, feeds it back in, gets that output, stretches it again, feeds it back in repeatedly, like I did in my YouTube channel here, and it gives you these sort of movies here. You can see how each frame is just stretched slightly and fed in again, processed again, and you can just let this go for as long as you like. You can also specify a rotation amount in degrees or a pan X or pan Y to slide the image or pan the image around. If you both rotate and zoom, you can get effects similar to this one here on my Twitter. That one was prompting Space Nebula, or this one here, another Space Nebula, but using a different GAN and clip. And this one here both zooms and pans, and so you get that more, it's sliding upwards and zooming in as well at the same time. Playing with those various settings allows you to get different movie results. And so to create one of these movies, you just click the checkbox here. You will notice it changes the iterations down to only 10 and to update the image every 10. And so that gets the process going quicker. For hundreds of frames, you are still going to wait a while. Have a look in the images folder and you'll see those frames being generated. And so once you have enough, you can then just stop it. And then once it's stopped, that same movie creation dialog will appear and allow you to join those frame files into a movie. Okay, and finally, let's cover some memory issues. If you don't have a 3090 graphics card with a lot of VRAM on it, you'll find that a lot of these systems will cause out-of-memory errors on your graphics card. If you do get an out-of-memory error, you can try things like shrinking this image size down to 256 or even 128 if you've got a really older graphics card. You can also try reducing the number of cutouts. Memory errors with these scripts do not always show up as an out-of-memory error. Sometimes it will show a CUDA memory error or an OOM out of memory, but other times it can show some other cryptic error message. So as long as the basic text-to-image works on your graphics card, the chances are any error is going to be because of a lack of memory, and so you can try reducing image size and number of cutouts and see if that helps, or try other scripts because some of the scripts are more memory heavy than others. Okay, I think that covers everything to do with the text-to-image mode. I hope that gives you a quick overview of how it works and what you can do. If you have any other questions, leave them in the comments. Thanks for watching.